Alright, I've started the mine facade. You can see I have a couple little small skinny walls attached with the centerpiece there, and then I've just propped some other plywood right inside the doorway so that we have something to attach some foam and whatnot on there. So I'm back behind those flats that are leaning against the roof of the carport, and you can kind of just see I used some plumbing strap. I just tied it into the framing of the underneath the roof and stuff, so that's what's holding this thing in place. And then this wall right here is just a couple pieces of the underlayment Luan, and I've just got that basically held up with these two jacks that are weighed down with some cement blocks. It's kind of a mess back here, but yeah, and that's all I'm gonna do basically. Now I'm gonna start stapling the burlap to it. So this whole thing is kind of covered in burlap, really roughly, you know, I might add, just enough to get me some shape to this doorway here. So I have it all around there, going on the sides. I have just one board inside there, kind of screwed into the beam there above the carport, and then that stuff stapled to it. Over here I wrapped it around, and I've got it stapled into the first post holding the carport up there. So that's all it needs to be. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start carving some foam chunks and kind of making it look rocky out here, attaching it to the outside. So now that we have the burlap up in the mine, these foam blocks are kind of covered with some of our other burlap from last year's maze, but we're excited because we have this big huge blocks of foam that we're going to carve our cactus and timbers and rock and stuff out of, and it's the same foam block that Lydia from Morning Rose Manor was using for her project, her crypt.
But that's because it came from her.
Yeah, and then Sandy over
Oddities.
at Oddities brought this stuff over to us, so we're excited.
We are. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, I've started the construction for the timbers for our mine entrance, and I wanted to use 6x6s, but to save on weight and, you know, to make it a little easier for us to deal with, plus I had the wood, I ended up using a 3/4 inch wood, and I just mitered the corners and nailed it together like that. That's much the same way I constructed our columns and stuff for our cemetery fence and stuff last year. But up here I don't have anything together yet. On this top part I have some little caps that I stuck on the end, and I think it'll kind of disappear once we paint it. But these go together like this, and you can see the pre-drilled holes. You just run some screws up there at an angle, and then these corner braces will just get centered and go in there like that. So these things are ready for paint, and I'm gonna make another set of them.
Hey everyone, we just put sand in our sluice box. Chris just made this extra attachment so it looks like the water wheel is pouring water into the sluice. And we got a bunch of sand from Home Depot, and now we're gonna put some water in it. And this is probably about 5 inches deep of sand, I think. So here's the water. I think it's gonna take a while to fill this puppy up. Ooh. Oh. It's kind of like a beach sand, so it's real clean. And we tested it out at Home Depot. we got one of their little coffee cups, their little courtesy coffee cups, and we went to the aisle and we put some sand in it, and it said that it was washed, and we went to the water fountain and put some water in the cup, and it worked. So let's go show you how clean it is.
You can hardly see any dirt.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Alright, so I've started the Minecart. I'm using 2x8s. They're primed, and probably gonna paint it like a cartoony wood grain. It's all it's got the 8.5 degree angle miters on all the corners. I just made it a size that matched, you know, the material. So I put 2 boards down at the bottom, and then I've got three layers of the 2x8s on the side. Now, to cover up these corner edges, I'm going to cut some scrap strips of the Luan, and then kind of make it look like an L bracket, like a steel L bracket, and then I'll nail on some fake rivet heads, and then when we paint it, we'll rust those up to make look like a rusty metal, and then the rest of it will be the cartoon painted wood. Okay, so I have the strips of Luan on each of the corners. I cut it at 2 inches so that it can kind of represent a 2-inch steel angle. I've got it all along the bottom, all the way around, and then on the corners. Get a little view in here. I made a very bottom out where I'm going to attach the wheels out of 2x6, and I screwed it through the inside here in several places, and then I mitered the corners there and just kind of boxed it in. Here's just another little underside view of the 2x6 bottom that I made that I'm going to attach those wheels to. And now you'll notice that I have my staples kind of evenly spaced, and I did that so that now I can install these rubber fake rivets. And you can get these at like metal supply stores, kind of like King's Metal, which is the same place that many of you order the finials for your cemetery fence. But I'm just going to go through here and just stick one of those over all my staples, and I'll just shoot it on with a little finish nail gun. And you could even glue them too. And then that way when we paint this flat stock, it'll look like old steel with rivets. Okay, a couple things. You can see how I have some of the rivets in place. And then on top here, you can see how I made some of the little railroad ties there. I actually wish I would have made the top a little bit narrower, but, you know, whatever. I'm sure some trick-or-treaters aren't going to go, "Hey man, your railroad ties aren't real realistic looking. Here's your candy bag." 3/8 plywood, and I mitered some 45s on there, and then there's some 3/4, and then I rounded the edges of this pine. And again, if I was going to make it again, I would have made this like 2-inch, so just trimmed like 3/4 of an inch off before I stuck it on there. But it's done, and now it's ready for paint. Okay, so I just got the railroad ties all painted up. I started out with a kind of like a charcoal colored black, a little gray black, and did that as the base coat. Then I dry brushed like a kind of a reddish brown, and then I went over with some of Gina's spray paint that she uses to rust up a lot of this stuff. And you know, it's not perfect, but again, a lot of this is going to be in the dark. I could have spackled over some of these little nail holes and stuff, but I don't think anybody's gonna notice. And then over here I've got the Minecart all finished, and then we got some fake foam rocks in there. I made this little steel handle, and the wheels down below, they don't actually work, but I just cut some 2x6s and cut little circles, and then I added that little plywood backing right there, and then I used some painter's caulking to kind of seal it up to where it looks like it was all one piece, but it's just held on with a screw. I was thinking about putting one of those rivet buttons on there, but again, I just rusted that up, and then I kind of used like a black wash, and we still need to wood grain the wood, and this will pretty much be finished. I'm gonna go stick it in the mine right now. Testing out the Cowboy kicking legs.
Those are awesome. Look at.
I couldn't get the boots slipped on all the way, so it's like it's like his little tippy toes are inside of him. We need some spurs.
Have some spurs.
Okay.